Alright, this is my last video for today. This one's going to be uploaded later tonight, so Saturday night. I have a job interview today at 3 o'clock, and it's at Best Buy, so please understand that just because I upload the college football game onto my channel, and you be trying to figure out what happened to my other two videos, I ain't forgot about my fans on my other channels. I got job interviews coming up. All this week and all of next week, I got job interviews coming up. And I will eventually make a video either on a Sunday or on a Monday addressing the issue that I heard that all the Disney employees, there was a total of 28,000 people who lost their job at Disney. I'm one of them. I used to work at Disneyland. Currently, I was, or should I say, a former cast member. And that video will be saying thank you to the cast members because I'm a cast member and I know what it feels like to want to create some magic. So this Star Wars video right here is actually going to be for men, women, and for Disney cast members who wish they can still create this magic. So we're going to call this YouTube video, like, this is a video for my fans, but this also could be for the cast members. But I will make a complete and separated video where it will just say Disney cast members. Because we don't want no one to be going like, why you put sex games on the video if it's supposed to be for everyone, like men and women and cast members, because this is my original show here on YouTube. And please make sure you're age appropriate because YouTube is making it 100% mandatory in all of my videos to address my audience. My videos is for men and women that are from the ages of 18 to 50. So if you're not 18, if you're not 25 or 35 or 50, you should not be watching this YouTube video. This video is not for kids, because if they find out any kids are watching these videos, y'all can get in trouble, I can get in trouble, and I don't want y'all to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want no one to come down on me because some kids are watching my videos because I put in the title Star Wars. It's for a mature audience. And we don't want little kids to be watching my videos in the middle of the day or night, and they parents and grandparents walk in the room and see me on their cell phone talking about characters in a different manner, and they go, you're not supposed to be watching that man's videos, because we don't want to get in trouble. And YouTube be watching my videos. YouTube be watching in the analytics to make sure I follow the community guidelines, because there are people still getting their YouTube videos demonetized and taken down for not following community guidelines. You get 4 strikes. You do know what happens when you get 4 strikes. All your videos on your channel get deleted, and including your channel, and then you got to start all over again 6 months later. And they're looking in the analytics to find someone who does not follow community guidelines. Because I'll be looking for certain videos or certain channels of other YouTubers, and the videos get deleted. And they're not playing, when they say follow community guidelines. So I will make a separated YouTube video for Disney cast members and saying thank you to them for creating the magic. But this video is for your joy of entertainment and to put a smile on your face until we get to Sunday. Because I have job interviews coming up, and there are going to be days where I don't make YouTube videos that you expect me to make a video, but I'm going on job interviews. Now, once I get me a new job and everything's been situated, then we'll go back to actually making videos like we normally do. But this time we're having some interviews come up. So I don't want y'all to be like, why you ain't making no videos? So the title of this YouTube video is called Sex Game, Badass Star Wars Fighters for Women and Men. Now, I did told you last week I was going to make one for the men, and here it goes. Now, I might put this on both channels. So don't be upset if I put it on one channel and you don't see it come up on notification. I'm going to upload it twice. Once tonight and then again on a Sunday. So don't be panicking. All right. It's going to be at number 11, Qui Gon Jinn. Now, Qui Gon Jinn is usually one of these underrated characters that was never appreciated from the beginning. I mean, he discovered Anakin Skywalker, okay? They could have been Obi Wan Kenobi, but he was younger. It could have been Mace Windu. It could have been Yoda, but it was Qui Gon Jinn who went to planet Tatooine and discovered the Chosen One and heard in the prophecy that it would be him that would bring balance back to the Force. He saw the boy's potential in being a Jedi and basically sought him out and gave the Jedi Council the idea. Now, to me, he's one of those characters that could have been a Grand Master Jedi. I mean, he was very strong, very powerful in the Force, and some considered him a great Jedi, that he usually did things different that other characters didn't do. But it was nice to see him in Star Wars episode 1 Phantom Menace. Some of the best fighting scenes were Dark Maul versus Qui Gon Jinn. I don't think nobody will argue that the best moments and the best parts of episode 1 The Phantom Menace was the lightsaber duel. The music, Duels of Fate, it was perfect. Like, you could see Nielsen as Qui Gon Jinn give you this great performance. And it was like, it would have been nice if he could have been in episode 2 and episode 3 at some capacity. Like, you could have brought him back as a Force ghost to warn the other characters about the Emperor and his plans. That would have been interesting for them to put in episode 2 or in episode 3. They referenced him in the third film that he came back from the Nessus of the Force, but it's like, it still would have been nice if a Force ghost could have shown up to warn Anakin or Obi-Wan about the Emperor's vengeance, because that would have really tied in his character to how he knew Anakin would be the chosen one, and to how we got that story. Now, if they make a Disney Plus television show of these characters, one of the characters that should come back at some capacity is Qui Gon Jinn. You could usually go back to 20 or 30 years, like 30 years before the prequels in the original trilogy, and we can get a young version of Mace Windu, Yoda, Qui-Gon Jinn, and we could see him train Obi-Wan, and that could be where that story comes up, that one day it would be him that would find the chosen one, and not Mace Windu or Yoda. So this is kind of like an underrated Star Wars character that a lot of people only think of him in comic books, video games, and just that one film where we always think of Obi-Wan because we see him more. We don't see that much of Qui-Gon Jinn. Like in the Dark Vader television show, that would be a chance to have some type of story, even if it's just for one episode. You could have a Force ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn come up and confront Dark Vader, calling him Anakin, telling him it's not too late to return to the light. You can have it where there's conversations between those two, where the Emperor discovers there's a Force ghost speaking to Anakin as Vader and gets upset and tells Vader never again ever speak to these people. So you could have something like that, even if it's just for one episode. Coming in at number 10 is everyone's favorite Jedi, Obi Wan Kenobi. To me, he's a very interesting character. He's been in both trilogies. I like the actor who played Obi Wan Kenobi in the prequels because in high school and college, that's who I grew up watching Obi Wan Kenobi, the wise Jedi. He wasn't just strong and powerful in the Force, he was very wise, very knowledgeable of the consequences of man's actions and wanting too much. Basically, I'm going to be happy if Ewan McGregor returns back to Obi Wan Kenobi. I don't care if it's a movie, a television show of Star Wars. It don't matter. You could make 3 movies of Obi Wan Kenobi. You could make a season of Obi-Wan, or you could cross him over between The Mandalorian and Luke Skywalker, and I will still watch and support the actor who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi. To me, he is Obi-Wan Kenobi. There is no Obi-Wan Kenobi if he's not connected to the Star Wars movies or television shows. And Ewan McGregor has done an outstanding, perfect job of playing Obi-Wan Kenobi in these movies. When I saw him in Star Wars Episode 7, Force Awakens, I almost wanted to break down and cry because they brought back characters from the original and prequel trilogy to be in this film. Now, it would have been nice if he could have actually been out throughout that whole trilogy. And like most of y'all, I actually wanted Rey to be a Kenobi. It was like, it would have been nice to see Obi-Wan Kenobi actually fall in love, have kids or grandkids, and that could have been Rey. It would have been nice. She did have some qualities that said that could be Obi-Wan Kenobi's daughter or granddaughter. It would have been nice if they would have went into that direction. Now, the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie or television show would be a nice way to explain what he did for 20, 30 years before the events of the original trilogy. Him fighting Tusken Raiders, I can see it. Him fighting Dark Maul, let's do it, bring it on, I could see it. Him watching over Luke, that would be interesting. Him being contacted by Yoda, that would be interesting. To see him fight other villains from the world of Star Wars that we never see in the movies at all would be an interesting take. Like, you could have it where he suffers from nightmares of what happened in Revenge of the Sith. He could be drinking and depressed at a bar, And that's where he meets a young Han Solo and Chewbacca before the events of the original trilogy, meaning he could see those people 7 or 8 times before he joins them in the original trilogy. And you could have it where he starts to lose faith in the Jedi and starts to take on his own principle, and then Yoda starts to contact him not to lose faith in the Force. You could have some type of struggle where Obi-Wan is still a Jedi but not sure if what they did in the prequels was the right thing. Like, you can have it where in some episodes he questions, was Anakin really right? What we did was no different than the Sith. You could have that struggle in an Obi Wan Kenobi movie or television show. You can cross him over. Like, if he shows up in The Mandalorian season 3 or 4 or in a Luke Skywalker, that would be badass. So that's pretty much what you would say about Obi Wan Kenobi. Coming in at number 9 is Ven Zallow. I apologize if I messed his name up. He's actually a video game and a comic book character, and he's only highlighted in the Clone Wars. And to me, this was like another character like Anakin that had great potential, who also fell to the dark side and then returned back to the light. To me, that would have been a character that they could have explored more in the prequels. Like, yeah, he was in episode 2, he was mentioned in episode 3. It would have been nice if they could have just went with that adapted story. Like, before Anakin went to the dark side, you had another character in that same span of time with the love story of him and Asajj Ventress. You could actually explore that in the Obi-Wan Kenobi television series. Because if he's a Jedi that escaped the Purge like other characters, it makes you wonder what happened to his character. That would have been a nice, that would have been a chance for a Jedi to pop up in the sequel trilogy to actually be one to tell Rey the story of what happened besides Luke. Like, there was another character that you could have used. Like, I feel like his character is so underappreciated that he was like another character like Anakin who also struggled with the idea of following the rules of a Jedi. And when he had his little love coil with Asajj Ventress, that could have been explored. Like, that could be a character that you throw in there. Like you could have that. Coming in at number 8 is Dark Maul. Now, everybody and they mama loves some Dark Maul. My dad likes Dark Maul. Like, I like Dark Vader more than I like Dark Maul, but my dad likes Dark Maul a lot. Now, to me, the one thing they have never done with the character is actually flesh out his whole story. Like, just because you got him in cartoons, comic books, and video games, that's like 50% Dark Maul. What I mean is, there's stuff about Dark Maul that could have been put in the movies and television shows to really explain what was his whole purpose. Like, we know he was recruited by the Emperor. We know that he became the first Sith in 100 years to show himself to the Jedis. And that whole episode 1 was so pivotal because Dark Maul kind of answered that question, was there someone before Darth Vader? And the answer was yes. He answered a lot of our questions. There were other characters before Vader that was very strong, powerful, and intimidating. He was good, skilled, agile with the lightsaber, good with martial arts. And the fact that Ray Parks transformed himself into Darth Maul was brilliance. To me, the one thing we need is the story of Mother Talisman. How come she's a witch with all these powers, and how come he's like an acolyte of the Sith? Like, it would explain how he knows of the Sith even though he isn't a Sith. Because the argument is he's a Sith, but he's not. He was an assassin that would not get trained by the Emperor unless the Emperor sought so. And to me, you could have made a movie where Darth Maul became cybernetic and survived what happened in episode 1. In the Clone Wars, he wants his revenge because his brother Asajj Ventress and his mom has been taken away from him by the Emperor. And when he realizes that for 10 years the Emperor never came from him, that would have been the time for him to actually, you could have done something spectacular in that moment for Darth Maul. Like a Darth Maul movie or television special, even if it's just for 90 minutes, would actually explain Darth Maul. Like, when you think of Duels of Fate, you actually think of Darth Maul because he's a tragic figure. Like, if anyone's a tragic figure besides Darth Vader, it's Darth Maul. and that one movie is all we got from him. Like, it would have been nice if they could have kept him around for at least 2 films. Now, they did, and eventually 20 years later, say, let's put him in Han Solo, but to me, that was all we got, and it's like, we could have gotten much more out of that. Like, that would have been the chance to explain how did he manage to actually survive. Like, if he was cut in half by Obi-Wan and then he became cybernetic, you would have to explain that story. And I think the best series for him to show up would be The Mandalorian, because it would still be set in a time period before the original trilogy and the prequels. That would be the chance to kind of throw Darth Maul in there, and it don't matter if he fights Obi-Wan, Ahsoka Katana. People will be happy to see Darth Maul return at some capacity. Ray Parks, to me, is Darth Maul. I can't see no one else play him. Alright, coming in at number 7 is Darth Vader. Now, this is the man who is the tragic figure. When you hear the theme song of Darth Vader, you think of what he could have achieved with his greatness. Like, there was so much of his potential as Anakin that as Vader, he never really got it. Like, you could see that, yeah, he's big, he's strong, he's powerful, he's got all these cool powers, these cool gadgets, but he's a cyborg. And the fact that Vader was able to do things as a cyborg that Siths and Jedis couldn't do was the most terrifying thing. Like, as a Jedi or a Sith, you could figure out how to win those fights. But as Vader, nobody's seen anything like Vader. The way he used the Force, the way he implemented the dark side, the way he would get information from criminals, and then to do this with his fighting skill. The fact that everything that they say in the video about Vader is true. And when you hear his theme song, it's like most people are like terrified, but when you hear his theme song, you know you're in trouble when Vader shows up. Like, the best moments of that movie of Rogue One is seeing Vader in his prime. The lights go out, the guys are standing there waiting, all of a sudden you see that lightsaber, the song comes on, and in all of Vader's glory, you are seeing a person who is not happy with himself. You're seeing a person that is still tormented by the fact that he's conflicted. Like, he wants to be in the light, but he's pulled in the dark. And I think some part of us feel that from Vader. A lot of us feel like we should be in the light and not in the dark. We feel conflicted, whether we're at work, school, whether we're struggling in a relationship, whether we're struggling with our humanity. Some part of us feel the pain and suffering of Vader. It's like what Yoda told. It's true about Vader. We feel that pain. We feel that from Vader. And I think Vader's more of a tragic character that wants to rise to redemption. And Return of the Jedi kind of showed that's what he wanted the whole entire time. So that's why we praise, which we're not supposed to because you don't want to get in trouble, but my point is, that's why we kind of feel the force of Vader. Vader's that character that we think about. Coming in at number 6 is Galen Marek Tie with Dark Raven. Now, these characters are very similar. You got Dark Raven, who comes from the Knights of the Republic. This is a character that answered the question, was there someone else besides Vader and Darth Maul? And the answer was yes. Like, to me, his story's never been explored. Like, the one thing they could do to really give us a big boost in Star Wars is give us characters that are different. Like, if you don't want to do the story of the Skywalker lineage no more, explore the story of Dark Raven. He was in the light, he fell to the dark, he returned back to the light. There are so many stories that they could tell. People always wanted what would happen if that happened, and that would have been a cool story. Like, I don't care if you put him in The Mandalorian, a television special. If you give us Dark Raven the movie or television show, you will see people watch Star Wars like they've never watched before. That there's a story with Raven. He's one of the most badass characters, and now he may not be as strong and powerful as other characters, but in his time he was strong and powerful, and the fact that he could be good and bad and split it into two at the same time shows that he kind of like was a Darth Vader before there was a Darth Vader. On the other hand, we have Galen Marek, where if you made a story called The Secret Apprentice, you could put him in the Darth Vader television show for at least 3 episodes. What if Vader had other apprentices, which he did? Like there's the Inquisitors, there's Lady Numaya, and then there's Gabriel Maverick, who later becomes Star Killer. You could incorporate that into a movie or in a television show where if it's just a Disney Plus show, people would still watch the story of Gabriel Maverick. Even if you want to change up the character and make it where he's not a part of the Jedi lineage, still people would still watch it. Clearly, they would still watch it. Coming in at number 5 is Anakin Skywalker. Now, Anakin Skywalker